the call from Gaurav, I thought it is for something, their advertisement or the contact numbers of the students, which the generally private universities do. But it was very surprising that they wanted to have this initiative, which will definitely help us all in this tough period. कोरोना काल में हमें ये एक इनिशिएटिव आपकी तरफ से मिला. वी आर रियली थैंकफुल फॉर दैट. एंड जैसा मोदी जी ने कल कहा था कि आपदा में हमें अवसर ढूंढना है, तो मुझे लगा इट इज ए ग्रेट अपॉर्चुनिटी टू ऑल ऑफ अस to have some creativity in ourselves, because in going ahead, I think creativity is definitely needed in teaching and getting to our students, giving them best, taking out best from them, because we may not be able to get in personal touch with them for quite some long time. So I really appreciate, Khosla Sahab, your initiative, your university's initiative, and I am looking forward to some more such initiatives where we can interact with you all. And definitely, Vivek Atray ji, I have heard of him and I have listened of him about 2 years back when I was principal at Sangara. I had heard that he was giving some kind of this lectures and motivating lectures to IAS aspirants at Nahan. Though I could not stand my students there, but I have heard of him and I have listened to his lectures on YouTube also. I'm really very happy to have an interaction with you learned people today. And my staff, about 45 people from Government College Nahan and Dadahu, they are joining, and hope we all will be greatly helped by this, and we are very pleased to be associated in this webinar today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dinesh sir. Good afternoon, teachers, lecturers, professors. Good afternoon, Veena ma'am, Dinesh sir. Good afternoon, Vivek Atray. Welcome to the 51st episode of Ideas That Matter, series of webinars by Shulini University, Solan, Himachal Pradesh. The purpose behind Ideas That Matter was very simple when we started. It was to connect teachers, inspire them, get inspired, share ideas, and more importantly, in the process, inspire our students. We are very excited to share that so far Vivek and I have done 51 such webinars. We speak every day to teachers across India. We've gone as far as Calcutta. We've covered around 100,000 teachers so far, Veena ma'am. So very excited to speak to all of you. I have two reasons why I'm so excited today. First is I am a Nahan boy.
Yeah,
My Nana Nani are from Nahan, and my mother mummy is from Nahan. So I spent all my vacations in Nahan. So I know everything about Nahan, from Gunnu Ghat to Pakka Tank to you name every gully of Nahan. My mom also started, my mummy started her career in Dadahu. In the government school there, so I think I have a strong connection with Rahu also. So really lovely to talk to all of you. Very excited to welcome Vivek Atray, dear friend of mine, ex-IAS officer, extremely talented person, motivational speaker, author of 3 books, also visiting professor at Shulini. So we'll be speaking about creativity today, Vivek and I. The format will be Vivek taking around 30 minutes, and then we'll really love a lot of question and answers from all of you. We know, Nahan people are very creative. I know that because you have lived in this beautiful town.
Thank you.
Just don't hesitate to ask questions from us, and we'll participate in this beautiful, beautiful webinar. I'll also be showing a bunch of creative videos around what we have done at Shulini, which hopefully you'll also enjoy. So I won't take more time, Vivek. Quick introduction to me. My name is Atul Khosla. I'm the Pro Vice Chancellor of Shulini. I'm a BTech from IIT Kanpur. And after that, I did my MBA, spent 20 years in the industry, 7 different countries, 35 different cities. And then the teaching bug hit me.
I'm sorry, I'll leave and rejoin.
Yes, sir. Yes, Dinesh, sir. Thank you. So really look forward to talking to you, teachers. And Vivek, over to you for this wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Atul Khosla. That was a wonderful, warm introduction as ever in this Ideas That Matter series. And thank you, Veena ma'am and Dinesh sir, for being here. It's nice to be connected to Ponta as well as Nahan in the same webinar. I know they are nearby, but it is a beautiful area. I go there often because I still go to Mussoorie a lot before the lockdown and after the lockdown again, to train officers in Mussoorie, the National Center for Good Governance, which is associated with the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy. So let me say, Veena ma'am, that I also have a Nahan connection, and Atul did not know about it till today. So my
Very
Nanaji
nice.
is also from Nahan, and he was Mr. Moolraj Sharma, and Mr.
Okay.
Moolraj Sharma was born in Nahan. He lived in Nahan as a child, and he studied in Lahore. Then he
Nice.
went to Delhi. His elder brother was also from Nahan, obviously, and he was actually an ICS officer and became the district collector of Bulandshahr. So one of the first from Nahan or that area to be an ICS officer, Indian Civil Service, before IAS. And wonderful to know that from Nahan and Ponta, you are connected with me and Atul on this webinar. Dineshji, you are back. I was telling Veena ma'am that I have a connection with Nahan also. My Nanaji was born in Nahan as well. And
Yeah,
Atul's Nanaji also was born in Nahan. So
I
it
heard,
was
I heard that. So we are all connected. Good.
all connected. So
Atul
I
ji
have
ki-
also been, for your information, I have been SDM in a place called Narayangarh, which is not far from Nahan in Haryana.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Narayangarh, and then comes Kalam, and then comes Nahan, and then comes
Yeah.
Ponta.
Right.
So I know all that.
Yes.
So very nice to see all the teachers. I see about 67 people on the webinar now, and there may be many more on YouTube as well. So it's wonderful to be connected with the professors, the teachers, and this Ideas That Matter series is a wonderful series started by Shulini University, where I am also visiting professor and advisor. Atul and I have been speaking to about 51 now webinars, and many schools have been reached, colleges and schools. So let me say that while we are sitting at home or sitting wherever in our office, we are going through tough times, but let me say that they are not as tough as they could have been. Things are okay by the grace of God. We are mostly all right. Few people, hundreds and thousands of people have lost their lives, which is a very shattering and very sad development. But humanity and mankind is resilient. We will bounce back. We will come out of it. Those students and teachers who are very fearful about whether we will ever go back to the normal classroom, please don't be scared. Sooner or later, you will be back to your classrooms. And of course, this online methodology will also continue as a blended learning. Blended learning is here to stay, but we will definitely also have classroom teaching. And I hope more and more classrooms are back in action in the next few weeks or months. Now, let me share that creativity is something which has not been a part of our education system. That's why it's very good that you have chosen this topic, ma'am and Dineshji, because creativity is something that makes a man successful, a lady successful in her life or career. And without that creative, innovative touch, nobody can be highly successful. A routine life is not a successful life. This is something I would tell you, and you can share with your students. A routine life is not a successful life. Some amount of spark, some amount of sparkle and shine has to be there in a human being, and that human being becomes outstanding. I have been director of school education in Haryana, director technical education in Chandigarh. I can tell you, and I know that it is very difficult to incorporate creativity into our education system at the college or school level. What happens is that there is so much burden on learning of knowledge and information which is fixed and which is printed and which is in the books. Very little time is left, especially for school students, to explore their creative side. Those teachers who make students creative enable their creativity by carrying out activities, by carrying out group discussions, by carrying out maybe other kinds of activities in the class or outside. They are more successful in encouraging creative spirit. I can tell you that in the real world, and I have worked in the government as well as the corporate sector for 2 years also, I can tell you that people are not looking for only intelligent people today. Companies are not looking only for intelligence. They are looking for emotional intelligence. They are looking for creative skills, leadership skills, thinking skills, people skills. These are important skills for children and students and young people to have. If they have leadership skills, if they have creative skills, they will be outstanding. A topper with 95% marks may not, unfortunately, have creative skills. A person with 75% marks may. It could be the other way around also. A topper may also be highly creative. I'm not saying that, but there is no correlation with the marks that he has got. Very little correlation. So creative thinking, let us see how it helps us. Let us look at the example of a young girl who could not wake up early in the morning. And these days it is very familiar to all of us. Our children do not wake up early in the morning. They put the alarm and they keep snoozing it. I also do that at times. So it is very easy to snooze and get up much later than you had planned. Now, this girl was creative. She was an engineer. What she did was to create a special alarm clock for herself. This alarm clock will sound the snooze button about 3 times. And when the snooze alarm was switched off for the 3rd time, this alarm clock will actually start moving. It will move off the table and start walking on the floor away towards the window. And from there, it will create such a loud alarm that the person has to get out of the quilt or wherever the person is and walk towards the clock to switch it off. Now, this girl found that this woke her up instantaneously because you're outside your bed, comfort zone, and your sleep has gone. It is innovation. It is creativity. Creative thinking leads to innovation. And Einstein said, creativity is intelligence having fun. So intelligence having fun is creativity. What can we do to incorporate this in our children? In school or college, what we should do is to do a lot of emphasis, make a lot of emphasis on activities, projects, and debates and discussions. I even do something called an online storytelling competition. Even if it is not online, it can be in the classroom also. I give the first few sentences of the story. The students then have to pick up the story one by one. Each student says the next couple of sentences. When I start with something like a man walked into a jungle in a dark night, from there we may, after 5 students, reach the planet Mars and rockets and whatnot. So the creative thinking of the student is encouraged. Whether in school or college, you can do it. I have done it with 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds. Storytelling and story building is something very good. You would also have heard that even corporates and companies are encouraging storytelling nowadays. What is storytelling? It is experience sharing. It is the way you tell an anecdote, a way you relate something. It also helps them in their public speaking skills. Public speaking is also vital today. A person who is knowledgeable, not able to communicate that knowledge to others, a leader who is right thinking, not able to inspire others, something is missing over there. So what we need to do is to not only have creative skills, but also the ability to inspire others to be creative in our team. Let me also say that a young software engineer or any graduate from any college working for a company, after 2 years, he becomes a team leader and is leading 7 to 8 people. I've seen it in the industry. Now, 7 to 8 people, all of different personalities. We have not taught this young person how to handle leadership and how to handle different people. Until we make them lead in the college or in wherever they are, some groups, some activities, clubs, etc., they will not understand that human beings are not alike. They will not understand that human beings come from different backgrounds, mindsets. Some are aggressive, some are less aggressive. So their creativity and their leadership will be tested in that moment and they will get practice. Let us go to Atul Khosla for a while and he will share some ideas about creativity. Also, Atul will share something about Aman, a beautiful student of Shulini, who has done remarkable work in a very important field of research. So over to you, Atul, for ideas on creativity and ideas that matter.
Thank you, Vivek. Because I was having trouble, I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Could you tell me? Lovely.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely. Very clear.
Fantastic. So once again, good afternoon to everyone. I'd like to bring the topic of creativity by demystifying or challenging status quo. Historically, our learning was built around knowledge. So if you look at the 18th century, 19th century, even the 20th century, we learned by remembering. The 21st century, knowledge or remembering is of no value anymore. We can go to the computer, we can go to Wikipedia, and we can actually get any piece of knowledge we want. In fact, with superior AI tools, we can actually answer anything that's on Google. You can actually try that out. I'm sure all of you use Google quite a bit. What's needed today to succeed is what we call me skills and we skills. Me skills are skills that are built for myself, which is the ability to lead, the ability to be creative, the ability to learn, and most importantly, the ability to unlearn, because what we're teaching today is of going to be no use, my friends, in the next 30 years. Why 30 years? Even 3 years later, who knows? There might be a fundamental change in the concept of whatever we teach. Human beings are evolving in knowledge. We skills are the ability to collaborate, the ability to work with each other, the ability to work with teams. And I would really, really encourage all of us as teachers to start thinking about inculcating these skills into our students. Because if they have these skills, if they have these capabilities, our students will be very successful. And I can tell you, I work with so many students from different parts of the world. Himachal students are not inferior to any students of the world. They're as capable. They're a little shy, so we need to bring that shyness out. We need to make them more extrovert. And once they do that, they will become world beaters. The second thought I'd like to bring in, Vivek, is the concept of the left brain and the right brain. Our right brain, as we all know, brings creativity. And our left brain, as we all know, is data-centric. And I'm going to do a small experiment over here. I'm going to request all of you to think about a song, any song, that you would sing when you were in your late teens or early 20s. Think about it for a second. Guys, you thought about it? Now let's repeat the song in our mind. I'm sure all of you, I don't sing very well, otherwise I would have sung, but all of you can remember the tune up to the nanosecond. Gunguná rahe hain bhavrein khil rahi hain kali kali. That's something I haven't heard or sung for a very long time, but I remember it because that's the power of the right brain. Now imagine you got a number which is 10-digit long and I ask you to remember it. There's no way you can remember it because that's using the left brain. So the right brain, we are just not using, and that's the power of creativity. The moment we start using the right brain, dear teachers, our students can become world beaters. So one of the things which I always speak about, Dinesh sir, is that it's very easy to take extraordinary students who are like 98, 99% marks in the conventional sense and make them conventionally successful. But the real challenge is to take what I call the belly of the country, the student who was studying in a small town somewhere, Majra, for example, who probably scored 75% marks, and make that person a world beater. I think that's the challenge for teachers today, and that can be done through creativity. I'm going to show a small video over here, which really excites me. It's the story of Aman. Aman has been undergrad, masters, and then now a PhD student with Shulani. Comes from a lesser privileged family of Punjab, a difficult student in her undergrad and masters. And I think you all understand what I mean by saying she was difficult. Some magic happened in her doctoral, in her PhD. She got a great leader. She collaborated with people across the world. We encouraged her to think outside the box, be creative. And look what Aman has done. She has discovered a molecule which added to water kills bacterial activity by 99.9%. Aman has now won the Young Water Fellow. It's a UN-sponsored award. More than 100,000 researchers across the world apply every year for this award, and Aman got it, small town girl from a small university in Himachal. Comes back after 6 months in Geneva, comes and wins the Tata Trust Award of 25 lakhs, wins heads and shoulders above all the IITians, all the guys from ISC Bangalore. How does it happen? It happens because she suddenly got into an environment that pushed her creativity. So the idea is so powerful, Vivek, that who knows, one day she might even get a Nobel Prize. I'm going to show this idea in a second. If you allow me, I'm going to play a video. So how do underdogs win? And why do underdogs always win? And I'll bring in a classical example of Wilbur Wright and the Wright brothers. All of you know that the Wright brothers were basically owners of a bicycle shop in Dayton, Ohio, and they discovered the aeroplane. They invented the aeroplane. But they were not the only people who were at that point of time researching on a flying machine. There were millions and millions of dollars being spent in New York in 3 different projects, one at Harvard, one at Yale, and one at Princeton University. The Wright brothers had no money with them. They actually were getting spare parts from the bicycle shop and using them to invent a flying machine. The Wright brothers succeeded while all the other 3 teams failed. And this is an example that has happened again and again and again. India won the 1983 World Cup. They were underdogs. Why does it happen? And I think there's a research which is done by Harvard, which talks about 3 things. We as individuals can operate at 3 levels. We can operate at the level of what? What do I do? I'm a teacher. How do I operate? That's the second level. I operate, I teach by using good technology. The most powerful way to operate is by asking the question why, which is the purpose. I am a teacher because I am in the profession of changing my students' lives. The moment our students can find that purpose, the moment we can find that purpose, we become magicians and we make the impossible happen. And that's when magic happens. So I leave it over here and hand it over to Vivek. Creativity, in my opinion, can change the world. It can make impossible things happen. We've seen it happen again and again. We've all seen the movie Mangalyaan. I think if you've not, please see that. It shows how some crazy scientists from ISRO sent a satellite to Mars with 1/10 the cost of money that NASA would have sent. So it's thinking about the box, it's thinking fearlessly and with a purpose. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you, Atul. That was lovely, and I'm sure at the end we will have questions from Dinesh ji, Veena ji, and remarks also, and also all the teachers. So we look forward to those in about 15 minutes from now, or 10-15 minutes. But before that, let me also share some more thoughts. You have heard of the Indian jugaad, and the jugaad is nothing but creativity. Those who are small-time inventors, those who are small-time thinkers. Even in government, we have used, I was administrator, I was DC, I was SDM. I have done a lot of administrative work. We have used thinking of various kinds, and how you sometimes don't go by the norms, but you actually make things happen. I used to have two people in my SDM office. One of them was supposed to be senior. He was senior. But he was not a doer. He was a very laid back kind of person. The other person, junior, I would make him in charge of other things because he was a go-getter. So you have to be creative in leadership. Sometimes you have to be creative in various ways. Students who are creative can also be entrepreneurs. When they start up their own venture and become entrepreneurs, then they are contributing to the economy of the nation. They become job givers rather than job seekers. And what do you need for starting up your own venture? You need three things. One is a great idea, which is creativity. Second, you need some financial stability. Your parents have to back you, or somebody has to back you. And the third is a risk-taking ability. That for the next 2 years, I'm going to take this risk and I'm going to start. But great ideas can come out of these creative ventures. And even in government, I found that we set up these e-Sampark centers in Chandigarh. E-Sampark centers were difficult to set up because government departments did not want these very transparent kinds of public dealing offices. But I was able to do that with some push and some creative thinking. And my boss was a very creative officer also. So we were able to do it. Even in government, if creativity is possible, and educational systems also in some ways, then it is possible anywhere. So let us think how more creativity can help. Atul mentioned the right brain. The right side of the brain is actually something which can be nurtured by students and teachers alike if we are not over dependent on technology. Artificial intelligence and creative skills have to be balanced. When we used to remember, of course, that was the left side of the brain, when we used to remember telephone numbers and we could calculate mentally, that means we were using our brain more. Our mental skills were sharper. I remember my mother used to go, we used to live in London for a while. My father was posted there. I was a child. She used to go to the store and she would, let's say, buy 4 or 5 things. At the counter, she had the exact change ready, £4 and 40 pence. And the counter lady would be very surprised. How do you know? Because she would come up with a calculator. Indians have that brain power to utilize their brains much more than we do. Jugaad also comes from the same brain, but the right side of the brain. That right side of the brain is not encouraged normally by the education system. We need to get students to write, to speak, to come up with new ideas. Only then they will be able to come up with various things. I am going to tell you the story of Einstein and his driver because I think everyone likes listening to it in Ideas That Matter. And also I'm going to tell you this because many of you may not have heard of it. Albert Einstein, we all know, was a great scientist. And some of you may be from science. I know and you know that he was the exponent of the theory of relativity, and E is equal to mc square. So he went along lecturing on the theory of relativity. He had the same driver on a trip to the US, and that driver would take him to every town. And every town, the driver would sit at the back and listen to the lecture. And Einstein would speak for 1 hour on the theory of relativity. And the driver didn't say anything for 24 days. Each day they would go to one town and he would deliver the lecture. On the 25th visit, they were driving to the next town. Suddenly the driver speaks in the empty car, empty road, except Einstein, nobody's there. He says, Mr. Einstein, I have heard your lecture 24 times sitting at the back of the hall. Can I also, I think even I can deliver this lecture if you allow me in the next town. So Einstein is very excited being a creative person. He says, okay, I will become the driver. You become Einstein. They don't know how I look because this is olden time, 1920s, no photographs. He says, you deliver the lecture this time, I'll take rest. So they go there, the small town principal and vice principal and professor, they receive them. And the driver Saab goes onto the stage and starts delivering the lecture on the theory of relativity. And Einstein goes and sits at the back like a driver. And when the driver is through after 1 hour, Everybody claps and cheers because he has delivered a perfect, flawless lecture on the theory of relativity. And Einstein is cheering the loudest. He's clapping and clapping and clapping. But one Professor Sahab gets up and he asks a question. As you know, people ask questions. At the end, you will also ask questions after this. So the professor asks him a very difficult, complicated question. Now the driver looks at him quietly and then he says, Professor, that is a very simple question. Even my driver can answer this. So you see how creative, how sharp, how alert this driver is. He has put the question to Einstein. Now, if we learn from the driver, what skills did he have? First, he had confidence because he could tell Einstein, I will deliver the lecture. Second, he was intelligent. He could remember 1 hour of lecture, even 24 times you and I hear it. Maybe we won't be able to repeat it like that. Third, he had delivery skills, public speaking skills, confidence, and ability to orate, to speak. I am speaking to you like this because I've been speaking for many years. But he did not ever deliver a speech. Fourth, he had presence of mind. When a question came which was difficult, he puts it on Einstein. So these kinds of skills come from a clear mind, uncluttered, uncomplicated thinking. When we are busy with day-to-day life, when we are burdened with everything, administrative problems, personal problems, home problems, bijli ka bill, this, that, and the other, we cannot think creatively. The only way to think creatively is to declutter our lives and declutter our minds. How do we do that? By calmness. And calmness comes from purpose, from effort. It doesn't come like that. A calm mind will be a creative mind. Meditation is the answer. Meditation brings us, half an hour of meditation will bring you immense calmness throughout the day. Let us say that you practice even just walking without your phone, even that brings you calmness. But meditation will make you more creative because you have uncluttered your mind. And those who are prone to spending the whole day busy, they need to take out half an hour for themselves. Teachers need to do that. And they need to meditate or read a book where they are only with that book, only with that meditation, only with themselves. Maybe the spouse is there and spouse is disturbing, doesn't matter, let them say, it is okay, let them also do what they have to do. So the two people, husband and wife also, if they say that, chalo, this is our half an hour of meditation time. And this book I must recommend to you. I follow it. Maybe you also follow it, some of you. It is a great book. It is a famous path, autobiography of a yogi. I follow it, and Shulini actually has a Yogananda library. Paramahansa Yogananda is the author of this book. He said, be calmly active and actively calm. Be calmly active and actively calm, he said. And this active calmness means we are giving rise to great creativity because we are working hard to be calm and we are working hard to be creative. So this is something that I would recommend to you. And if you haven't started meditating, you are waiting for retirement to start meditating, I would recommend that you please do it now, because this is also lockdown time or unlock one, whatever it is, you can start now. And even young students, let me tell you, my wife runs a school for toddlers and she makes these young kids, 5-year-olds, sit down. They don't listen much, but they sit for 5 minutes and they keep quiet. So that is also something that they know that they can do. So calmness will bring creativity. Please work on calmness. Please work on your anger management also. वैसे हिमाचल के लोगों में ज्यादा गुस्सा नहीं होता है, लेकिन फिर भी थोड़ा बहुत नाहन और पोंटा थोड़े नीचे है, शायद थोड़ा बहुत गुस्सा आ जाता है, गर्मी भी आ जाती है. तो इसलिए आप कोशिश करिए कि थोड़ा सा अपनी शांति पे, अपने on your own calmness, please keep working on it. Thank you, and over to Atul. I don't know whether I'm on time. I think I am. Yes, over to you, Atul.
Wonderful, Vivek. Always so inspiring. I'm going to take a minute more and I'm going to leave the concept of the power of dreaming, the power of pushing ourselves and going crazy. So Steve Jobs, who's also my mentor and I really look up to him, once said that if you're crazy enough to think that you can change the world, then you will. It's only the people who dream like crazy are the people who will end up changing the world. So I think as teachers, we should of course think crazily, but we should also inculcate the power of passion, the power of dreaming into our students. My belief, Vivek, is that if students can start pushing themselves and students can start, I call it the fire in the belly, if they start getting that, then nothing is impossible. I'll take a minute talking about my personal case. I'm a Solon boy. I decided to be, I studied at Government College Solon. I did not go to any sexy college for my 11th and 12th. Somewhere along the way, I got to know that there is a university or institute called the Indian Institute of Technology. And someone told me that there is an exam called JEE that you need to take. So I went to my college principal. There was some clash in timetabling, which I wanted him to change. So I won't name the man. He's not with us anymore. I went to him and said, Professor Saab, can you make some changes in the timetable? He looks at me and says, why? And I say, I want to prepare for IIT and I've got some clash of classes that are happening. He looks at me and says, tumse 12th to pass nahi hota, IIT karoge. So anyway, that was his answer. Somewhere I had the passion, not that I had huge marks. I was just a 76% percenter. All the odds were against me. There was not a single Himachal student who had ever cleared the JEE. And I was the first person who cleared the JEE and I got into IIT Kanpur. And I always tell my students, if I can do it, all of you can. You just have to start dreaming. You just have to start thinking big. And the day you do that, you will end up creating exceptional work. So the youth has got amazing power, Vivek. The youth, not just in India, but across the world, the youth has changed the way the world is. So I'm going to show a small video again over here about how the youth has changed the world. That is my passion. That is the passion of Shulini on how we can help our youth to transform themselves and in the process, transform the world. So a 2-minute video and then we'll get into Q&A. If you allow me, please.
Throughout history, the young have always been the ones to shape the future. And they continue to do so today. You are the country's biggest asset, our best bet to conquer the future. So what are you waiting for? Your time to dream is now. Dream of the research that can change the world. Dream of a high-flying corporate career. Dream of higher studies in the world's best universities. Dream of developing cutting-edge technology of the future. Dream of your own global startup. At Shulini University, we empower you and enable you to chase your dreams and change the world. Shulini University. Think learning, think success.
So Dinesh ji, Veena ji, I had huge amount of challenges when I started my career. I was working with a top multinational consulting firm and I couldn't speak English very well. And all the guys from Delhi and Bombay would laugh at me. I'm a Himachali boy and I'm very proud of it. I grew up in a small town. And I think there's so many other students who probably are studying in your college, whether it's in Paonta Sahib or in Nahan or any other place, who I think deserve a lot of handholding. So I'm got so excited talking to all of you that I would like to create a scholarship in the name of my Nana, and I'll offer that to your colleges, that if there's any one student who really deserves and you think he needs support and help, I'll be delighted to personally sponsor that. So I offer that to all the teachers and to the colleges right now. So Vivek, over to you.
Thank you very much, Atul. Very inspiring story and straight from the heart. And I was only laughing that sometimes you say you're a Nahan boy, sometimes you say you're a Solan boy. So you better make up your mind. And I guess Himachal boy is the right answer to that. Okay. So we have actually to get questions soon, but the point is that just to wrap up, I'm going to say that teachers who are going through their careers, are 15 years into their career, maybe 20 years into their careers, they have to think how to motivate and inspire themselves. Because when we get into a rut and a routine and we don't have inspiration anymore, then we have to find ways to inject that inspiration into ourselves. And my feeling is that by being creative yourself, you can do that. Supposing you wanted to sing, supposing you wanted to paint, you wanted to play something, you wanted to be a photographer, and you could not find time. Even now, please take out time and cultivate your own creativity. It could be the guitar, it could be some Hindi music, it could be photography, it could be poetry. Whatever you had left years ago, pick it up again and find that creative spirit within. When you have something like that to look forward to on a Sunday, then the whole week will pass by looking forward to that Sunday. And then you will also be energetic on Monday because you have done something that you love. So go back to that first love and go back to not your first love before marriage, but first love of creativity, so that you can actually explore that creativity even today. You may be 40, 50 years old, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If you are younger, it is easier, but if you are older, even then it's possible, it's quite easy. And also physical fitness and mental fitness is very important. So please work on body, mind, and soul. That will make you perfectly balanced, happy persons who are looking forward to each day. That's my message.
Thank you, Vivek. So inspiring. And I think there are lots of questions over here. And I think we'd love to hear from Veena ma'am and Dinesh sir also. So I'll start with the first question, which is Rajesh Trehanji. He's saying, is the present day education system a barrier to creativity? Veena ma'am, you know, ladies typically, the female sex is more creative than males. We know that for sure. So I'd love you to answer this. Do you think the existing education system hinders creativity? But within the constraints, how can we also build creativity? That might be a better question, I think.
I think in the present scenario, it's very challenging to say, I can say, to have this courage and this boldness to ultimately motivate our students and to have creativity in them. But I think is not impossible at all. We, as earlier, Mr. Atray has said that our students, they are just shy and they are not having just exposure. That's why they are, because of this lack of exposure, or you can say lack of awareness, they can't be so competitive. But ultimately, by the teachers, they can do anything, right? You have shown us these videos and one story you have told us. So I think if the teachers, they think that they can have everything out of their student, they can do it. I think there is no challenge, even in the present scenario, that teacher cannot meet. Teacher can do anything. With their zeal, with their this wholeheartednessly, if they say they can have best out of their students, they can do anything. So I think Dr. Trehan will agree with me. He himself is a wonderful teacher. So I think he can. I can say that he can have everything out of his student. Nothing is challenging, I think.
So Vanita
That's what
ma'am
I
is
think.
asking exactly the same question, ma'am. She's saying, how do we
Okay.
bring creativity at the workplace? Your thoughts, Dr. Dinesh?
To hello, Vinita. I think Vinita herself is, because I know all the staff over there in Nahan, and Vinita herself is so creative. and if I can say, yes, we can have. And she herself is having a lot of creativity in her workplace. Because when I enter their rooms, that faculty rooms, I know a lot of creativity. Just I can say, ladies, of course, you have just told me that ladies, they are more creative. They are using their right brain more than the male. And that's why I can say that, of course, at workplace also, we can change everything by putting our 100%. And of course, ladies are more creative and they own the things in a better way. And that's why they can do everything when they are in their workplace. And because they are, I think, I apologize from the male side, they are more dedicated and they can understand. They are more flexible. They can understand the problems. And they are having very cooperative and teamwork type of leadership they are having. That's why they can do even at home and also at their workplace. They are wonderful.
So I agree with you, ma'am. The 2 or 3 things which I like to bring in over here, which I think are very easy to do, which you can also do. And I encourage my teachers, and of course, we support that at the institutional level. The first thing about creativity is that the environment needs to be inspirational. So, for example, one experiment we did, Dinesh sir, around 5 years back at Shulani, we would ask our students, why do you throw kachra, small wrappers everywhere?
Yeah.
And the answer came about was that there are no dustbins. So we took a decision to have a dustbin at a line of sight. So anywhere at Shulani, wherever you look, you will see a dustbin. And it's amazing because now you won't see a speck of even paper at our campus. And I don't know whether you've been there or not, Dinesh, Sarvina ma'am, but Vivek has.
I visited the campus once.
And that's change. To me, it's not just about keeping the campus clean, but it's about also inspiring students to thinking differently, creating an inspiring environment. So you can bring plants into your colleges, into your classroom. You can put some murals, you can put some paintings. You don't even need to spend money because I'm sure your class will have students who paint very well, that they draw very well.
True, right.
And you can put that across the campus. So create an inspiring environment. I think that's the first one I would say. The second is, as teachers, ma'am, we can allow them to be fearless. We can allow them to participate in debates, for example, where we can let them speak whatever they want. So stretching the timing of the library, for example, is a very interesting idea. So we now have a 24/7 library. Might be a little difficult in a government environment, but stretching a little bit and say, okay, student, if you go to the library and you don't come to class, we'll still give you the attendance as an example. That's something which I sometimes do. And the last is the use of technology. Trehan sir and Vanita ma'am, there is such amazing content available. You don't need to go to Harvard anymore. You could be sitting in Renuka or wherever till you have 4G, and TEDx talks are amazing. Interactions like this, we can bring in the best speakers in front of our students, whoever. As we've started in the last 3 months, Vivek, like we said, we've got 4 Nobel Prize winners in front of our students. Couldn't have done it in the previous world because they couldn't have traveled to Solon or Nahan. We can just do that. We had Kiran Bedi yesterday speak to our students. So I think these are ways to inspire students, and all of you can do that.
And teachers, let me tell you, you can reach out to a Dr. Kalam or a Kiran Bedi or anyone. The bigger the person, the more open he or she will be, and they will be ready to come and speak to your students. When we started talking to Kiran Bedi, Vivek, one of our students got in touch with us saying, "Can you please speak to us, ma'am?" And she agreed. And I think all of these don't need money. They just need a little bit of fearlessness. And all of you are such amazing teachers. You're all the Corona warriors, I always say. And I have a very close, love towards teachers, Himachal teachers. They are exceptional, Vivek. I'm not joking. My college teachers in Government College Solan were exceptional. Dr. Ramanand Chauhan, who taught me chemistry, was path-breaking. I mean, my chemistry was as solid as anyone else's. I still remember organic chemistry like no one else, thanks to him. So you're all amazing teachers. You're all very talented. I think sometimes you just need to be a little more creative and fearless, I would say. And the moment you do that, you'll be great. So I don't know, Dinesh sir, you want to just add a few thoughts?
No, Veena ma'am has taken my question and she has answered it so very well. I don't mind that. I just want to add one thing that yes, we definitely our curriculum sometimes makes us little tidy. We are not able to give that opportunity to our students, but we should find some time to allow students to speak their mind. Yeah. Ask them what they like, what they want to do. And as you just said, if we bring in some eminent people, some inspiration people once in a while to the classroom and deliver the lectures, of course, the students can be motivated and they may just click in their creativity, which may not be seeing it. So, Madam ne answer kar diya. I think teachers can do a lot. Of course, they have to just allow the students, as you said, let them be fearless, allow them to open their mind. Let them speak up. Then maybe we are able to find out some creativeness in one or two of the students, maybe more.
Absolutely. So Suloni ma'am is asking a question, and Vivek, I'm going to put this question in front of you. So Dr. Suloni is asking that, is creativity inherent or it can be inculcated?
It's my question also.
Okay, you'll answer this one. Of course, Dr. Dinesh, why don't you pick it up first?
Ask the same question. Can this creativity be inculcated at this stage? Same question as
Okay. Yeah, I think it can be. You see, my feeling is that there is a little bit of genetic factor involved, but not much. People have to be determined to be creative. Some people, they become creative with confidence. Okay, let me link it to confidence. When my personality is shy and I am introvert and I am not even able to talk like often students are, then that confidence to be creative is also not there. So when I start learning new things, taking part in more activities, sports, music, etc., then I suddenly realize that I can. Now, for example, I started out only writing. Writing was my only creative thing. Public speaking came later. Today, I have the confidence, and not today, please don't ask me, to actually sing. And that could be some other day, I may start maybe cooking or painting. So that confidence, if it multiplies, then a person can learn creativity also.
So Vivek, we have to make you sing today.
Not today.
No, come on, you have to.
Next time.
Okay. No, I actually believe, first of all, we all have creativity in us because Homo sapiens are creative by definition. We have that part of the brain, the right side of the brain, which is creative, and all of us have it. Creativity doesn't mean that all of us are artists, that all of us can paint or sing or write. Creativity could mean out of the box thinking, ma'am. So the different ways,
right?
And all of us are creative in some form or the other. Some have great visual skills. For example, I'm very strong visually. I can see things and I can dream things. Some people are extremely creative in the way they write. Some people are extremely creative in terms of their emotions with people. So we all have some, I would say, special gift from God, and we should inculcate that. I think we should use that. And I think we should, like Vivek said, Veena ma'am, we should have the courage. So one of the things I do, Dinesh sir, is I could never speak, but I learned the art of speaking over the years. But I can't sing, I can't dance. So what I do is to make a role model, myself a role model in front of my students. My students tell me, sir, why don't you come and dance? I freeze, Dinesh sir. मुझसे dance नहीं होता है, but I force myself to go to the stage and dance with my students because I tell myself that the way it is so difficult for me to dance, it is difficult for my students to speak. So I think as teachers, we have to become role models, and all of you already are.
Yes.
But if we stretch ourselves a little more, I think we can be a little more creative than what we've been doing. So I think great questions over here. So
We have some
Mandeep,
questions on chat also.
oh,
Yeah, there are some
okay.
questions on chat. And in the
So
meantime,
we'll-
I want to ask Vivek Atray, if it is possible, him. Was it creativity or calmness or meditation that led you to resign from such a established field of our administration, from IAS to public speaking and motivating students? I just want to have a little bit of insight about that.
Good thing you asked me, Dineshji. I think my intuition is improving. You know, I had a guess that you are going to ask me this question. I don't know how I guessed that. I was wondering, I think Dineshji is going to ask me this question. Well, actually, I did become more creative. It's absolutely true. I started writing, I started thinking about creative ways to work in government. Government doesn't really like you to be too creative. But as DC, I was able to start things which were very creative in terms of, like, I started something called Adar Samman, which was that elderly people will not stand in the queue. They will come straight to the window in any government office. There will be one person who goes to the elderly person, helps them to fill up the form. And wherever they go, they will be treated with respect in the whole district. So it was something, nobody told me to do it. It was a creative idea, but it was an important idea. Then other things I started doing. Then I realized that, within the government, I can only do so much. So I started speaking in public, motivating students, and that could only be once in 2 months. Then I realized that youngsters are under a lot of pressure and stress. When someone from IAS goes and talks to them, and today I have 2 webinars, tomorrow again 2. So if I speak more, reach out more, then the positive message will go out. So I haven't regretted it at all. 2.5 years down the line, I feel very comfortable with my work and very happy to be a visiting professor at Chulini and doing these kinds of things all over India. I speak. I am enjoying I'm more in the limelight now than before.
You are more into the reach of the people now.
That's right.
And Vivek is a very modest person, Dinesh sir. He has more than 2 million views on his TEDx talk.
I have had a little bit of info on him. I have gone through that.
So Vivek, there's a question from Tejasvi ma'am over here. She's saying, and that's for you actually. She's saying, there's an issue of instilling confidence in our students to use the right brain. And of course, there are curriculum constraints, etc. So how do we go about doing this?
Yeah, so actually you're right. The curriculum will not encourage you and you have to finish your lectures, you have to finish the syllabus, but do take out time for activities where the confidence will come. There may be a student in your class who has never opened his or her mouth. And in college, actually, teachers don't even get that kind of intimacy with the students. They may not even recognize them. So it is good to have a lot of interaction. And when interaction comes, everybody has to speak. When everybody has to speak, then that confidence develops. They know that every week, ma'am is going to ask me to say something. So then gradually that student becomes more confident and more creative. Speaking is something which is a sign of confidence, and that will definitely enable that. I'm looking
Monica,
for my book.
Yeah, your books.
I'm looking for my book, but I can't find it. Oh yeah, I found it here. So somebody was asking for the name of this book again. This is Autobiography of a Yogi. I saw the message on chat just now. This is a famous book by Paramahansa Yogananda. And I'm just showing my book, which is Finding Success Within. This is a book which encourages creativity and life skills in youth. So I have written this after great thought, and it is available on Amazon. Finding Success Within. Just thought I'll share these.
So Vivek, Monica Raina is asking, is creativity related to gender? And I would love to answer this. Absolutely, yes. Monica ma'am, it is related to gender. There are studies done in this world that ladies, the female sex are way more creative than the males, and it's genetic because males were expected. They were physically powerful, more powerful, and they were hunters. So their genes are more towards physical superiority. First of all, females had to fend for themselves, so they had to be more creative in that. And secondly, of course, they had to take care of. They had to keep the whole community together. It was the ladies who did that. I'm talking about 100,000 years back as Homo sapiens. So it's very genetic, and you are definitely more creative than me. So please use your creativity skills, Monica ma'am.
This is one more thing which you have added to the superiority of the women. Lately, everything is women is superior. Now, creativity, they are superior. Good.
Absolutely. I mean, even if you look at scriptures of Hindus, you'll see our goddesses are more. So Prem Bhadwaj sir from GDC Nahan is asking a question. He's saying, how does spirituality, and this is for you, Vivek, how does spirituality nurture creativity among students? Can it?
Yeah, I saw that question. It's a very good question. So as I said, meditation is spirituality. Meditation is the most important part of spirituality. And when we start working on the soul, that means we are encouraging creativity. You see, the creative spirit, as we say, it comes from the left side of the brain. But if you look at it, it actually comes from the heart and soul. Because when we love something, then we feel like doing creative things in that. Now, Atul is there at Shulini. He has that drive to do better things in Shulini, and he becomes more creative in the process. The whole team does. Because that passion is there, so the soul, heart, they have to be involved. And for that, nurturing the soul is important. Spiritual practice, spiritual reading, scriptures reading, and meditation. Meditation, I follow Kriya Yoga. Atul also follows the same path. So we try to improve our spiritual nature, and we become more creative and more effective in our work also.
So our Swamiji, and that's common between me and Vivek, Swami Swarnanandji, he once told something very interesting to me. Vivek, he said, a calm mind is like a calm water, and it's still. And that still mind and still water can think a million times better than a river which is flowing. And I think that's the way our mind is. So yes, spirituality can add to deeper thinking, which adds to creativity.
I've just mentioned the website of IAS in case anybody wants to know. That is the website where I learned my meditation techniques and the path. So you can also have a look.
So I think we're coming to an end. The 3-4 questions I'll quickly try to pick up. I think Amita Joshi ma'am from Ponda Sahib is asking, does increasing creativity increase learning ability? Absolutely, ma'am. Especially in the liberal arts areas or any area, if you remember it as a story, you'll remember it, right? For example, I can throw a number 54867932551. It's a 10-digit number, and I ask you to remember it. Very, very difficult to remember it using the left brain. But if you put a story around it to say that, you know, I am 48 years old and I was born on the 26th of March, 26/3/1971, and I live in Himachal, which has got 12 districts, and Solan is the second biggest district. You can create a story about any number. So around any learning that you have, the moment you create a story around it, suddenly our remembering and our ability to grasp that dramatically goes up. So especially in liberal arts, history, sciences, mathematics, stories help. So absolutely, you're right. I think if we can bring in creativity, learning can be so much more superior, because that's what the human mind likes to listen. I'll also bring one very critical example over here, Vivek. The human mind can go through 3 hours of entertainment. We watch Hindi movies, 3 hours. But if you're giving content, after 4 minutes, it goes blank. So it is 4 minutes of content versus 3 hours of story. That's the power of storyline, and this is the power of story making. That's the difference.
That's right.
I think one or two last questions. Is creativity related to intelligence? And I'll request Dinesh sir to answer this.
Sir, you just, in very beginning, you started off with intelligence and marks. I don't really associate it with marks and the intelligence or the other thing. It can be a very average student can be very creative, and a very intelligent person may not be at all creative like me.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's really associated, but intelligent people may have intelligence in certain fields, but an creative person is a creativity in separate field. So I don't think it's related.
And I would like to add over here for everyone is that success, like what Vivek said, is not about IQ anymore. It's so much about EQ, because IQ can be replicated through artificial intelligence, while EQ cannot be replicated. So I spent 25 years in the corporate sector, Dinesh sir, and I was a CEO of a very large company. If I was to hire a student, I would not hire him or her on the way he or she thought. It was purely on passion, attitude, and creativity. I think these were areas that, and values, actually very important. Values. Do you have the right set of values with you? So that was very, very critical for us. So I think we're coming to an end. We're already 5 minutes over. Lots and lots of questions. I don't think we can answer all of them, but I'd like to read out the names of some of the teachers who've asked: Navdeep ji, Rajinder, Bhumika, Santosh, Saloni, Anju, Manav, Monica, Maninder, Amita. Thank you all very, very much for participating. Mandeep sir, Manav. I so wish we could have answered all your questions, but we don't have control over time, however creative we are. Time just flows. But we'll try to answer these. We'll get back to you. We'll try to get back to you over email. And hopefully if Dinesh and Veena ma'am allow us, we'd love to come back and speak to you again. So time to close. But before we close, as I always do, I request my panelists to speak the last words. But you're only allowed, the trick is you're only allowed one sentence. You have to speak in one sentence. So we'll start with Vivek. One sentence. Your last words, Vivek.
My last message to you all is to be cheerful and happy. And when your mind is calm, then you will be more creative. Stay connected and stay happy.
Dinesh sir.
My one line is, sir, that we definitely want to get back to you so that we can be more creative at this age, and we can help our students becoming
So
more.
exciting. We'd love to do that. Veena ma'am.
What I can say is that let us use more and more right brain and be more creative. And I really thank you, sir, Mr. Atray, and yourself for so interesting and so useful session. I'm really impressed. This is my first webinar as a panelist. So, and you made me so comfortable that I now love to be there every time. So thank you once again. It's very informative and very useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Veena ma'am. It's our honor that someone like you is praising us. I think I'm already blushing. My last words are, there's a very famous movie called The Lion King, and there was a song in that. It said, Hakuna Matata, don't worry, be happy. There used to be a saying when I was growing up that successful people are happy. We all know that that's false. Happy people are successful. Happy people are also creative. So please be happy. Don't worry, Corona will go. We'll be back with you in person, hopefully. Otherwise, anyway, we'll be talking. We'd love to interact with all of you. It's been an amazing session. I think if you could have moved the needle even by 0.5%, our purpose is, I think, accomplished. Vivek, always inspiring. Thank you very much. But I can also tell you, Dinesh sir, Veena ma'am, we've never had better panelists so far. So you are now the role models for panelists. Thank you very, very much. And not just you, I think.
One thing I want to add, I also welcome Professor Hemant Kumar. He is Principal Government College Saraha. He has also joined us. He is there in the list. So I want to thank Professor Hemant also.
Thank you, Professor Hemant. I wish we had known we would have invited you into the panel too, hopefully next time. And once again, what a beautiful pleasure. Thanks to the teachers and the lecturers and the professors, because I think so many questions, and it seldom happens, Vivek knows it. It just shows that our colleges, our schools in Himachal are in very safe hands. So once again, thank you all very much and meet you at Shulani. Please come over. Once Corona gets over, it's your home, and we'll also come and visit you, or we'll meet on the webinar. Ideas that matter. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.